Is it too late to restore what we have lost? Looking at what have happened so far in different areas. Sure, you talked about the Andoni area too, where all the mangroves have been destroyed. Do you think it's too late to restore what we have lost?
No, it's not too late.
Okay.
We can act to replenish the lost mangrove ecosystem. It's not too late, especially if we make concerted efforts to ensure that we protect the mangroves that are left and also carry out tree planting. The Nigerian Conservation Foundation is keenly interested in this, and recently they have been working with them in various activities, and they are putting effort to replant mangroves. Even in Akasa, they used locals to plant mangroves in an area. The Akasa people will know the place, Tebekubu. And even in Delta, I went with them to Delta, River State. They employed certain persons to get mangrove seedlings and planted them in such areas. That's a very important step we can take to restore what has been lost.
Okay, so how does restoring these forests secure food systems and local fish breeding grounds? For those listening, some person might have just joined for the first time, so they might want to know, when we restore, is there any hope for the fish? Is there any hope for the livelihood, those who depend on them?
Yes, there is hope. When we restore the mangroves, we restore our fisheries, because, like I said earlier, the mangroves are sources of food. Just as we have these other terrestrial trees that are primary producers, the mangroves are the primary producers of the estuarine ecosystem. They provide food. The leaves of the mangroves are fed on by crabs and shrimps and even some snails. And those snails are being fed on by fish, birds, and this actually creates a kind of food chain and food web in the estuarine ecosystem. So when mangroves are restored, they also provide food for the fish, and the fish will tend to do well, they will proliferate, and that provides food security for the locals. So it's very important the mangrove ecosystem is protected, and it also serves as a haven of biodiversity. The mangrove ecosystem is inhabited by organisms such as the monkeys, various species of birds, the manatees, and even fish. Various species of fish, crabs, and shrimps inhabit such an environment, including microorganisms. And these are very vital to the sustenance of life, because we all depend, living organisms, humans depend on some of these things, and they also depend on us in some ways. So it's a kind of there's a kind of interrelationship between these living organisms. So when the mangroves are protected, then we can have a source of livelihood. Food security will be sure for us.
Okay, someone who just joined us sent a message. Okay, let me just leave this one because you have indirectly answered it. Now this one says, can rural coastal fishers and women directly monetize mangrove conservation efforts?
Yes. In Cross River State, I was rightly informed, they do what is called carbon credit. Globally, there is serious interest on the mangroves. So if a local community wants to protect the mangroves and they inform relevant authorities, then they can be given carbon credit. And in that case, they would be prevented from cutting down the mangroves. They would prohibit the use of any tree or shrub in the mangrove ecosystem, because these plants are seen to be very important globally. And if the community is able to do that, then they can be paid some amount of money. That's also referred to as carbon credit. So the local communities can benefit from conservation of the mangroves. And the second benefit is ecotourism, as I've mentioned before. People would want to come and see this mangrove ecosystem. Just recently, I traveled with my students and I had to take them into the mangroves. And they were excited. They saw, in Brass, They climbed the mangrove roots, took photographs, made videos for themselves. They were so happy to play around the mangroves. That's ecotourism. So the local communities, if they properly protect the mangroves and advertise the tourism potential of these mangroves, they would attract tourists that would want to come and see these mangroves and see organisms around the mangroves, see how complex the mangrove ecosystem is.
Okay. This person just said to me, is there money or opportunity inside this green gold? I know you've mentioned this before. Those of us who just joined us.
Yeah, there's actually money. I've said earlier, the mangroves are a gift to us. Sustainable use of the mangroves can generate income. Locals have been cutting the mangroves for use. They sell them to fishermen to dry their fish, and they get woods out of them. And I've also said that there's potential for ecotourism. But if we want to also conserve the mangroves, we will also leave this other aspect of cutting trees. Then if we contact relevant international organizations, then we would also have carbon credit. They will have to be paying local communities for preserving or for conserving such mangrove forests.
Okay, so if one Bielsa and Disney right now wants to help protect our green gold this year, what is the one thing you would want them to do?
Yeah, to protect the green gold, basically one step we can take is by enlightening the people. Basically, is to tell people the importance of these mangroves, because even the locals, they see them as nuisance. Some of them see them as they are making our community to look bushy. And they want to get rid of them. They don't even they don't even appreciate the mangroves, but they are being cherished by the international community because they help the globe by helping to remove carbon, to carry out carbon sequestration. So if we want to help, is to be involved in conservation efforts. Okay, I have been partnering with the Nigerian Conservation Foundation, and currently I'm also trying to see if I can establish conservation groups. Okay, so basically if we can partner to see how we tell people the importance of this green gold, then it's a very good way forward. And basically we can also get the community involved. The local communities can also be involved in tree planting. Okay, planting playfully. Someone can even pick up the propagule of the mangroves, these mangrove seedlings, and just pin them in certain areas. Even when they go for fishing, that's a way to help restore the mangrove forest. Because the mangrove seedlings most times they float in the river. So if we cherish these mangroves,
but it has particular places you can plant them.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, not anywhere.
They are in the estuary. Like I told you, the estuary is not like this freshwater environment. It's close to the ocean. Okay, the river around the ocean is called the estuary. Such areas that we can actually plant the mangroves. You can find such environments in Nimbe, around Akoma, Brass, Akasa, Kolama, Age, and many parts of Bayelsa State. So basically, if we want to help, we can engage in public enlightenment campaigns, just as I'm doing, or in various ways, and also help to replant these trees when we have the opportunities.
You think enlightenment will make people to have a mind shift?
Yes, it can. It can. Yes.
Okay.
It has been. I've been into this for a while, and it has a great effect. Like I said, the Nigerian Conservation Foundation enlightened some communities. We went to Ogola in Delta State and Burutu still in Delta State, in Burutu local government area. We also went to Yorokoto in Andoni local government area, enlightened them, and also trained them on how to restore the mangrove forest. And the communities were happy to be involved. Though in their own instance, the Nigerian Conservation Foundation gave them some stipends for being involved in that activity. They were paid for each tree they planted. But the communities can also do voluntary service to protect their mangroves. And in areas where the mangrove ecosystem has been depleted, particularly in some communities, they had cleared such forests before because they want the community to be seen. And such activities actually have an adverse effect because erosion is now affecting such communities. So to restore the mangroves, the CDC, the chiefs and other members of the community can mobilize youths to get the seedlings and replant in such areas, and that will protect the coastline and prevent erosion. So it's something that's doable. They can act now to restore the mangroves because they protect us. If we don't protect them, then we are also unsafe.
All right, what's your last or final word before you leave to someone listening and to the government?
My final and last words: the mangroves are very important to our existence. Our climate is changing constantly and it's affecting us. We suffer annually from annual flooding, and if we protect the mangroves, then we will also be safe. So we'll have to join hands together if we have the opportunity to protect these mangroves. We should discourage logging of mangroves because that's one major threat. People are constantly cutting down the mangroves. They are turning attention from the trees in the rainforest, and they're now concentrating on mangroves because they feel the mangrove trees are more durable. They are hardwoods, and people want to make use of them. In a bid to make more money, they are now destroying those things that are protecting us. So individuals should desist, should think of desisting from such acts. And the local communities, the chiefs, CDCs, the youth leadership should protect their treasures. They should see the value of what they have around them and prevent even their own indigents from cutting down these trees, and strangers, some that come from outside the community to cut these trees, they should prohibit that. And even if they can't prohibit it completely, they should use the mangroves sustainably and replant where necessary. The government can also implement laws, international laws on mangroves and some other very vital species that are protecting us. And more research should be carried out around the mangrove ecosystem, and that could also help in making informed decisions on the sustainable use of mangrove and mangrove resources. So it is very important we also pay priority to biodiversity. The mangrove ecosystem has a lot of organisms that are very vital, that should be explored, organisms that we want to see continuously. So biodiversity restoration, protection should be our priority. The mangroves should be protected by all means, and we should also implement existing laws. Implementation of existing laws would help to protect our vulnerable ecosystem. Then we should also take advantage of the blue carbon credits. Basically, the mangrove forests are a treasure. They are very vital to the international community, and they are interested in protecting these mangroves. So if we take advantage of this and see how we can work with relevant authorities to get carbon credit and also prohibit the cutting of these trees, it will help us. So basically, if we join hands together to ensure that we protect these mangroves, we'll benefit now and also in the future.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Gijo, Harry, for your time and your expertise and insight. We appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure.
Now, the message is clear. Our mangroves are not just trees. They are our flood defense, our food basket, and our future economy. If we save them, we will save us from climate change and poverty. My name is Victoria Boya. This was put together by Nelson Iganga. Thank you so much.